Welcome to this episode of Diaspora Scholars TV, where we bring you stories about the journeys of scholars and students who come from Africa and other countries to come to the US to pursue their careers further and also to be able to develop themselves, the countries they come from and the countries they live in. So today we have a panel to discuss about pertinent issues in the US as it relates to diaspora issues. I'm delighted to have Nicodemus Modi.
Thank you.
Then we also have Robert Minor.
Yeah, I am.
And Eunice Kangede. They'll briefly tell us who they are. My name is Eunice Kangede. I'm the host of the show. So let's start on this issue about culture shock. When you came to the US the first time, what is the most memorable culture shock you met, Nicodemus?
Me, being in a very conservative state, which is Dallas,
Texas.
We didn't expect much of Indians and Mexicans, because down south, yes, they actually contribute, if I'm not mistaken, over 40 to 50%. In Dallas, yes.
Mexicans?
Yes.
Oh yeah, because it's
close to the
it's
border.
closer to the border
But
to
that's what I
Mexico.
thought. It's actually Indians that are more than the Mexicans coming to the blacks than the whites.
Indians are more in Texas,
Because even the University of Texas, Dallas,
where you went to.
yes, 50-60% is Indian.
That was a culture shocker. So
So
here
in
you
my
are.
mind, in my mind, I'm like, it's a conservative state. I'm fully aware it's a conservative state. So you expect to see more white than any other place, because Texas is dominant for all that.
It's conservative.
Very conservative. Very
Wow,
conservative.
that was a shocker. Coming from Africa, you're excited, and then here you go to.
But I was not my shocker. My shocker was actually coming here.
You mean Ohio?
In a rural place. No offense, but me coming in a rural place. And my dad, because we flew in from Dallas and then used Columbus. Columbus is more like, oh, this is America, you know.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, it's developed, you know what I'm saying? But then we start leaving the city and coming into the rural, and I'm like, are you sure you people are taking me to school or something? Because I'm seeing
It was
corn,
farmland after farmland after farmland.
Cornfields.
miles and miles of corns.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they
Cornfields.
they don't show this kind of perspective
Uh,
in the media.
No.
They'll show you the tall skyscrapers where everyone thinks that's America. But this other side too is America.
Interesting. I was talking to Robert when we were driving from Indiana to Ohio, and I was telling Robert, Indiana and Ohio is simply a farmland. It's just a farmland. It's a majority of the space is occupied by only two things: corn and soybean. A great shocker to most people when they come, to some of these parts of the US.
Exactly, and
Yeah, go ahead,
on that
Robert. What
point,
about you?
when I have a rejoinder for him, because when I came to Indiana, someone asked me, "Why did you come to Indiana?" Like,
Of
they
all
wanted-
places.
of all places, why Indiana? I came to realize there are specific things that specific states could be known for, that
Yeah.
someone who is coming in new may not have seen that. And
Before.
they don't show that. They
It's
don't
not shown
show
on
us
TV.
the farmlands on the web. You not see that. Like,
You only see them on horror movies.
yeah.
But was that the greatest culture shock?
The
or
greatest
something
culture
else?
shock for me was, I have worked in the public school sector for like my career in Kenya. So when the culture of Kenyans and time. So when I come here, and for me it was the time management. You have an appointment at 5 and it starts at 5. It doesn't start at 5:01. No, it
So
starts
time-
at 5.
5 on the dot.
It's 5 on the dot. Yeah.
And it's surprising that even you go to a meeting, at 4:59 there's nobody. But at exactly 5, everybody is at the door.
And the
Yeah.
meeting is starting.
And 5:01 or thereabouts, the meeting has gone and started.
Exactly.
And they end when they say it was going to end.
Exactly.
Even if you have such a burning question, we have to be respectful of each other's time.
So even when you are teaching, students will leave.
Oh yeah.
That was my first time in class.
Yeah.
I'm used to a 3 hours lecture, right?
Yeah.
I'm used to 4 hours. And in 3 hours lectures, you sit in class and the teacher doesn't leave.
Oh,
Because-
that is in Africa.
Yes, because the 2 years of the public administration was in Africa before I transitioned to UT Dallas.
Oh, okay. So you did 2 years in
Exactly.
Africa,
So I'm
and
in
then 2
school.
years in University of Texas.
You have a lecture 3 hours, and the teacher done a shift. Not even breaks, no short call, no nothing. And you're in class for 3 full hours.
And they go beyond the time.
Exactly. You can't tell the teacher, excuse me, it's time. You wait for them.
Yeah.
But here, on time, you
My
leave.
first time, I'm seated next to someone, and it was 10:49, and they raised their hand, and I thought I was going to ask a question. And then it's like, oh, excuse me, bro, it's about that time. I'm like, about that time for what? It's like, oh, I know. Nikasongea kidogo, because I don't want the professor to think me.
It's you.
Bro, we can't, bro. You don't raise your hand to just
So there's the culture of respecting elders.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the university professors are really, really almost worshipped. It's like a god, somebody feared.
But the funny thing, he still said it the second time, even when the professor asked. And I'm like, it's just 15 minutes of a lecture. 15 minutes of a lecture. And he's raising his hand.
So just 1 minute, he's trying to remind the professor that on the dot leave.
And I just see people start packing. Around
Yeah.
10:45, people
Yeah.
started putting things in their bags. Then you just know, oh, it's like 5 minutes to the end of the lecture.
What about you, Eunice? What was the culture, the most, culture shock or something that really shocked you when you came to the US?
I was gonna say the food, but
Food is salty. It's either too salty,
I'm
too
gonna
sweet.
talk about the food, and now that we're talking about class, let me mention a little bit of what really shocked me most. As a professor, as a teacher.
Yeah.
So in Kenya, it is more teacher based. Teaching and learning is more teacher based.
It's more teacher-centered.
Yes, here it's student or learner based.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the time, the learners are the ones talking, not you. So I would talk for 40 minutes. In high school, back in Kenya, a lesson is 40 minutes.
Yeah, lesson is 40
Yeah,
minutes.
here lectures are 50 minutes.
Mhm.
Compared to what Nico is saying, I mean 3 hours is insane. It's just crazy. So it's only 50 minutes. But most of those 50 minutes, it's my students talking.
It's not you talking, it's the students talking.
It is very student-centered, and I like it. Now that I like, because you have to give them an opportunity to discover by themselves.
Discuss, yeah.
Yes, not
So
to,
you just provide opportunities for them to learn.
yeah.
Yeah.
And going to school in an environment where you are literally forced, because some of us who are very outgoing would be told by our teachers that we talk too much.
So they try to, yeah.
So I have a lot of fun with my learners all the time, and I always look forward because they have amazing, things to share as we learn.
Yeah.
Yes. Definitely the food was another shocker.
Food was a shocker, right?
God. Everything, and I came during summer, so it was very hot. So everything was cold. And now, me with my village mentality, if you take too much cold things, you will get sick.
Get sick.
Utapata
Yes,
pneumonia.
You get,
So now,
I've never understood the science of cold
I know.
temperatures and pneumonia.
I
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and it started on the plane. So you ask for water, and they give you iced water.
Yeah, they give you ice with ice.
Everything-
Any drink has ice in it.
Yeah.
Yes, all the time. Even now when it's very cold, they'll still serve you very cold drinks.
Yeah.
Iced tea, iced coffee, iced, soda everywhere.
Yeah.
Everything is cold. And then of course the cheese. There's cheese in everything.
They put cheese on literally everything.
Everything.
I
So
mean, and I'm sure in Africa, I tried one time to do a survey in supermarkets in Nairobi. very few had cheese being sold, except the ones.
Cheese is very expensive.
It's very expensive,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
So you hardly find any cheese in being served in restaurants, and even the burgers.
Yeah.
They don't have cheese, and so that is a big shocker. Food is either too salty, the drinks
Or
are
too
either
cold.
too sweet or too cold. Oh wow.
And then the meat is very different.
The taste of the beef,
It's very different.
The chicken
Especially if you
the
love,
chicken also, right?
Yeah,
The chicken is very fatty.
very fatty. Yes.
Uh-huh.
I would say the beef is the most profound in terms
Okay.
of taste. In terms of the difference in taste, especially if you are a meat lover like myself.
Uh-huh.
I'm the kind who would make. I like serving people different types of beef.
Beef, yeah.
Fried, whatever, grilled. So I find it hard to. If you look at my freezer right now, there's no beef. I just can't bring myself to eat beef from here. It's something
Because
else.
it tastes totally different.
It's totally different.
Wow. Wow.
Apart from that, another thing I usually laugh at myself about is the time, the sunset, the difference when the
Oh
sun
yeah.
sets. So when I got here, I kept wondering why my phone was being erratic in terms of showing time, because it's 8:30 p.m. and it's still daylight.
Or during the summer.
During the summer.
It's 8:30 p.m. and
8:30 p.m. and there's
people
sun.
are all over the place.
Yes.
It's still
People are
daylight.
playing a game.
People are playing soccer,
Yes,
football.
ni mchana.
Yes,
No, it's daytime.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
people don't just get it why you are amused about it,
Yeah.
because for you it's strange, right?
It was very strange, yeah. But now it's easier now going into winter when the sun sets at 5:15.
So around 5 p.m. it's dark.
Total darkness.
Yeah.
So now it's the opposite. But for someone who had not experienced that before, it's a shocker.
It's
for
a
sure.
shocker. What about on on the other positive spectrum, on the same idea of culture shock? What was this amazing thing you found in the US that you said, "Oh wow, I wish this was in my country"?
The friendly nature.
Okay.
The friendly nature of everyone, especially the younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I didn't even realize how old I am until I came here. And
Yeah.
these young folks want to open doors for you,
Yeah.
excuse themselves all the time. You'll not get knocked over by anyone.
They say thank you.
They say thank you all the time.
Uh-huh.
They are very appreciative of everything you do for them. And the cleanliness in nature, not rushing around.
Oh yeah, so
Yes, trash
there's a lot of
management
environmental management.
Yes,
They have trash bags and trash cans, and it's all well labeled. People
Yeah.
are very meticulous at taking care of their trash.
Yes, the efficiency in that is awesome.
Wow.
Yes, that was a good one.
What about you, Nicodemus? What is that positive thing that you said? I wish it was in Uganda or Nigeria.
The system.
The system. What do you mean by the system?
The system is efficient even when people aren't there.
Oh.
Because, like I said, my focus, big time, is government. So I pay attention to the bureaucracy that happens. You will go, I'm going to give an example of like a driver's license. You go do the practice or the knowledge test.
The computer-based test.
Exactly. When you pass it, then you leave with a paper, but they will make sure they email the actual card to you. Now, in
Everything
Africa,
is efficient. If you fail, you also have to go home. If you pass, you get what you deserve.
There's no kona kona.
There's no shortcut.
Nigeria, so there's no kona kona. But then,
By corner corner, you mean shortcuts.
so if you go do the test, by the time they're putting you on the road, at least 50% you're worth it being on the road. The other will just be your driving skills and the rest. But the process, in Africa, you will have to go back physically to push for the card itself. You live confident that, okay, I have done this process, I've gotten the paper, and they will mail it to you. And you go back home very confident that for sure they will. And they'll give you a time frame. After 14